Greetings everyone and welcome to a new series for the channel. Now, this game, Caves of Qud, needs no introduction for anyone who moves in roguelike circles, I am certain. But for those of you who do not, Caves of Qud is something of a, well, legendary might be a little bit too much. It hasn't been out quite long enough to become a legend. It is certainly an up-and-coming hero amongst roguelikes, or at least in my eyes, that is true. To give you a quick blurb, because this game is difficult to really categorize along with other roguelikes, Caves of Qud is a science fantasy roguelike epic steeped in retrofuturism. Now, if that word doesn't get you interested, retrofuturism, I really don't know what will. Deep simulation and swathes of sentient plants. Come inhabit an exotic world and chisel through layers of thousand-year-old civilizations. Caves of Qud is a bit of an interesting one in that it is pretty much an old-school roguelike. As you can see, not super hot on lots of graphics, though it isn't quite like an ASCII roguelike. I think you can actually run it in ASCII mode, but we're going to be running in a tile-based mode. But it has a lot of procedural content alongside a more crafted experience in some ways. There's lots of scripted quests in the game, scripted locations, the world map is crafted, but a lot of everything on the inside, once you get into locations, once you actually drill down below the kind of world map layer, it becomes procedural. Now we're going to jump into a new game. There are lots of options here. We are going to be creating a character. Of course we are. I mean, come on, character creation is like 50% of the fun of any game. We have two options: a mutated human or a truekin. Now this, roughly speaking, can be kind of narrowed down to, oh my god, I've got crazy mind powers, I've also got 4 arms, and I can huddle myself inside my awesome carapace shell, the game, or I hate the mutant Xenos, and in order to affect my hatred of them into the real world, to turn that hate potential into hate real, I have attached lots of robot bits to myself, the game. I have very rarely played Truekin. I gotta be honest, I like being able to kill people with my mind lasers, so yeah, mutated human is the way that we go. But should this game actually be well received on the channel, then maybe we will do a Truekin run as well. I can't imagine that my character is going to live long enough for us to need much of a break after the first run. Might not even live very long in the first run at all, and I'll jump straight into it within the first episode. Sometimes it can be like that. It's a true roguelike. It is not pulling its punches. Don't even think for a second it's going to. Right, okay, so as a mutant, there are certain things that are especially important to us. Ego, for example, the potency of our mental mutations, our ability to haggle with merchants, and our ability to dominate the wills of other living creatures. It's not only useful for mutants, but it is an especially good one if you intend to go with mental mutations. And I often like to, like I said, mind lasers. It's hard not to like mind lasers. Let's be honest with ourselves. I'm going to put it in 19. Now, you'll notice that every 2 points, you move your kind of modifier up. It's kind of like D&D in that way. So at 18 I've got +1 modifier, at 19 +1, but at 20 I get +2. But I'm going to put it at 19, and I'll come to why later on, but there is a reason for that. Willpower modifies the cooldowns of activated abilities, determines your ability to resist mental attacks, and modifies your hit point regeneration rate. I mean, it's good not to have that in the negative, in my opinion. In fact, I don't like having any of them in the negative. So let's just pull these up, and then we'll decide how we're going to distinguish ourselves. Intelligence score determines your number of skill points, your ability, and your ability to examine artifacts. Now, this one is not a bad one to have, so I'm going to pop a little bit into that. Strength. Your strength score determines how effectively you penetrate your opponent's armor with melee attacks, how much damage your melee attacks do, and your ability to resist forced movement and your carry capacity. It is quite an important one now. And then I think I'm going to put a little bit into agility. Your agility score determines your accuracy with both melee and ranged weapons, and your ability to dodge attacks. Very nice. I like to go dodgy characters rather than heavy armor, though that might definitely be something I change if I go Truekin in the future. Okay, time to select our mutations. Now this is where it gets really, really fun. Morphotypes are kind of a special one. You can spend a point to become a chimera. That means later in the character's life, if it lives long enough to gain more mutations, you will only ever manifest physical mutations. Esper is the opposite, it's mental ones. Unstable genome is kind of like you pay now to get something back later. Now, the reason why this one is sometimes useful is once you're in game, it costs 4 mutation points to gain a new mutation. This one we would pay 3 up front, and it doesn't manifest right away. Whenever I gain a level, I'd have a 1/3 chance that it would destabilize, and I'd get to choose from 3 random mutations. Basically, I'd be able to pay now, get it back later, but as a result, I get it at the 25% discount. I'm not big on the morpho types myself. Now, you've got both physical defects and mental, mutations, which are broadly speaking always positive, and physical ones which are broadly speaking always negative, but they're not always. Now, in terms of mental mutations, as I said, mind lasers. Light manipulation. You manipulate light to your advantage. You produce ambient light within your radius of 4 and may focus the light into a laser beam. Doing so reduces the radius of your ambient light by 1. Laser damage increments is 1d3, laser penetration bonus is 4, ambient light radius increases by 1 every 15 rounds until it reaches its maximum value, 13% chance to reflect the light-based damage, so on and so forth. A lot of the numbers aren't going to make any sense to you until you actually see those numbers in action, until you actually see the combat mechanic. You know, the idea of armor penetration and stuff is probably quite nebulous, so don't worry too much about that for now. But we're going to be taking light manipulation. It costs us a hefty 4 points, but I love it. We've got 8 points left. Now, there's a couple of other ones that we could go for. Ego projection, since I've got a high ego. Through sheer force of will, you perform uncanny physical feats. Augment one's physical attributes by an amount equal to twice your ego bonus. Right now, our ego bonus is, well, it's +1 right now, but it will eventually get to 2. And that would be very, very nice. Domination, cryokinesis, confusion, clairvoyance. Now, our ego is going to enhance any mental mutation we take, which is super, super good. But I'm not one for ultra specialization. That's how things go extinct. So I'm going to take a physical mutation. And the first one I like to get is night vision. I see in the dark. It's kind of useful. You've probably noticed a bit of a theme. I like my characters to be able to see at night, because then I become an apex predator, because other things might not be able to do so as well, as with Cataclysm. You can do also things like have multiple arms, multiple legs. Now, when I was saying that you can pick up more mutations later on, that's not the only thing you can do. You can upgrade the mutations you already have. And to varying degrees of awesomeness. Some things not quite as much, but you know, most of them can. We might come back to this. There's all sorts of things. You can have spinnerets. You can have stingers on your back, and all kinds of awesome things. You can be winged, which is always kind of nice at parties. Pyrokinesis is pretty powerful. You toast a nearby area with your mind. Toast affects area over 3 rounds and does a fairly large amount of damage whilst things are in there, and you know, sometimes set people on fire, which is pretty cool. Siphon Vim. You bond with a nearby creature and leech its life force. Now that one is actually really good, because if you're in combat or you just need to restore your life, you can drain life from a lot of creatures this way. Even weak ones, which realistically can't do any damage to you, so you just leech their life, and it's a really good way of quickly recovering your health. There's also things like time dilation. Temporal fugue is quite a nice one. You quickly pass back and forth through time, creating multiple copies of yourself for a couple of rounds. They hang around and just beat the living daylights out of anything you were attacking. Space-time vortex. You sunder space-time, sending things nearby, careening through a tear in the cosmic fabric. It's pretty cool, as you can no doubt imagine. Now, another one that's quite nice is clairvoyance. You briefly gain vision of a nearby area. Now, that one is great if you link it to something like pyrokinesis, because this one isn't restricted in where I use it except to where I can see. If I take that and clairvoyance, I can now randomly just picture part of the map with my mind's eye and know exactly where I need to drop a conflagration. It's a very powerful combination. You can use defects though, to get you a couple of other ones. This one I'm particularly fond of, an evil twin. Acting on some inscrutable impulse, a parallel version of yourself travels through space and time to destroy you. Each time you embark on a new location, there's a small chance that a parallel version of yourself has tracked you down and attempts to destroy you. It kind of sucks, because I promise you, that's not going to happen when you're completely prepared for it. It's going to happen when you're running for your life and low on health. And then it just pops up, it's like, oh hi, I'm here to end your suffering, and mine really. I'm going to put you out of my misery. Time to die. Not so great. Narcolepsy, you just randomly fall asleep. Not so good. Socially repugnant. That one is an interesting one. I mean, the merchants charging you 5 times the usual price is pretty damning, but you can actually get through this game without having to use merchants too much if you really want to. You go albino, your skin, hair, and eyes are absent of pigment. You regenerate hit points at 1/5 the usual rate in daylight. Now, that only is a negative effect half of the time. Plus, if you got Siphon Vim, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. Maybe we could grab another one. No, I don't think so. Amphibious, you require submersion in fresh water. You submerge yourself in water rather than drinking it to quench your thirst. You require approximately 67% more water than usual, which... Now, the thing with this game is it's set in the post-apocalypse where bartering is taking the place of money, realistically. But the most common thing to barter is your water. Water it's kind of like going back to the olden days where money was realistically food. You would trade bread as your form of currency, and water in this case. And there's a load of really, really cool ramifications that aren't immediately obvious to the idea of using water as your currency, but, needing to submerge in it all the time, not so great. Cold-blooded, your vitality depends on your temperature. At high temperatures, you are more lively. At lower temperatures, you are more torpid. Your base quickness score is reduced by 10. Your quickness increases as your temperature increases and decreases as your temperature decreases. Not necessarily bad. Hemophilia is awful. Your blood does not clot easily. It takes you much longer than usual to stop bleeding. That can genuinely just destroy you. Spontaneous combustion, you spontaneously erupt into flames. There is a small chance each round that you spontaneously erupt into flames. That sounds awful. Brittle bones, your bones are brittle. You suffer 150% damage from falling, attacks made with cudgels, and other sources of concussive damage. Let's go and have a look at the mental deficits. Defects, father. Blinking tick, not so keen. You forget things and places in your immediate past. Anything you've not seen in the last 20 rounds disappears from your map. Narcolepsy, no, we're not going with that one. You teleport about uncontrollably. I don't really want that. I gotta be honest. Not a thing that I want. Now, there's no point in trying to save points here. You're not going to be able to take them with you, so you want to spend anything you go for. You lack a developed sense of pain. You can only determine your general state of health and not your number of hit points. Now, that one is not necessarily terrible, but it's also not going to give us enough points to make anything really good happen. I mean, realistically, I want Siphon Vim. That's what I'm trying to get to, but I think we're going to need... I'm not willing to take Amphibious for it. So we're just going to have to live with it. That's us done. We're ready to continue. Okay, now we choose what kind of class we have. You're not restricted in any skills, but certain classes get a bonus to a stat, and we'll start with certain skills. And other traits. For example, a Nomad will start with a recycling suit. Think the still suit from Dune. It just recycles body's moisture. Get Harvestry, Mind's Compass. You get a certain amount of reputation with some of the NPC factions. An Apostle will gain Ego. Now that gains 2 Ego as well. Skills, Intimidate, Proselytize, and Tactful. So we'd have a lot of Ego to spare there. An Archanaut would gain a bunch of Agility. Willpower, -1 on Strength there for the Greybeard. Gunslinger. Let's see. No, Marauder, maybe +2 Strength, and we get Axe Proficiency. What would the Apostle get? Just a bunch of skills, no actual combat skills to speak of. And the Nomad, getting that toughness would be nice. And the ability to recycle our water. I mean, it is very important. Scholar would give us a bunch of intelligence, which would also give us a bunch of the kind of crafting skills for tech, which is awesome. Or rather, Gadget Inspector. If we went Tinker, we'd get the same, but we'd be much more towards building our own tech. Warden, +2 Strength. A Water Merchant, we'd gain Snake Oiler skill, so it would be easier with certain merchants. Allowed entrance to many settlements for the purposes of trade. Starts with trade goods. Water Vine Farmer, we'd just be tougher. We'd have the skills for cooking and gathering, though. No, I'm thinking probably Apostle. I think... Yeah, I'm not as keen on Water Merchant, and we're very, very deep into the focusing on our mental attributes or mental mutations. So, sure, Proselytize isn't a bad skill to have. So, okay, we're gonna go with you. I select you. Okay, so this is our character. They are complete. They're somewhat strong. They've got a very big ego. They can see in the dark. They can see places through clairvoyance. They can shoot laser beams with their brain. And they can set places on fire with their brain. Pretty normal stuff, you know, for a mutated human. Right, we only got 16 HP. It's not great, certainly, but I think we're ready to go ahead. So, space to choose starting location. Now, we can start in Joppa, which is the place you generally want to start. If you're new to this game, start in Joppa. It's much easier to start, but there's a couple of other places we can go. We're actually going to go in Joppa just so you can see how this goes, and if you do play along, I might be able to show you some things you can do. In fact, there are definitely a couple of things we can do there. Right, what is the name? Well, I'm going to be selecting a name from amongst the patrons who Siri has sneakily added to a name list, and we are going to be going with Vikamura. There we are. Vikamura, the mind laser-wielding mutated human. You embark for the Caves of Qud. On the 21st of Simun Ut, you arrive at the oasis hamlet of Joppa, along the far rim of Mograyi, the Great Salt Desert. All around you, moisture farmers tend to groves of viridian water vine. There are huts wrought from rock salt and brine stalk. On the horizon, Qud's jungles strangle chrome steeples and rusted archways to the earth. Further and beyond, the fabled spindle rises above the fray and pierces the cloud-ribboned sky. The writing in this is amazing. There are also procedurally generated like books and things like that, which they're just hilarious. But some of the scripted sort of stuff, it just conjures images in your mind. But as I said, this isn't a kind of ASCII game. You can definitely make it an ASCII game if you want to, but we're using a tile set here. And all around, you can see things. This is Joppa. Now, along the right side, you're going to see all kinds of things. Don't worry about that too much. One thing I do want to draw attention to, though, is dodge value, armor value. Armor value is something that if your armor value is high enough, then things will have a hard time penetrating your armor. If your dodge value is hard enough, they'll have a hard time hitting you. Usually one is risen at the expense of the other. Not always, but usually. So make a decision what kind of character you want to have. Right, we are bound to have some things on us. We've got a bunch of torches. We've got some goat jerky, 2 servings of that. That's quite nice. And we've got 64 drams of fresh water. That is very, very useful. This is my inventory, of course. Now, over on here, we've got equipment. I've got a cloth robe, a witchwood wreath on my head. I'm currently wielding a staff in my right hand, and I've got a lich torch in my left hand. No! Extinguish that, please, and then remove it. I don't need it. I can see in the dark. I'm also wearing some leather moccasins. We've got all the factions. These are all the NPC factions. Some of them really hate me, and some of them don't. Some of them super hate me. Where are the Trukin? The Putus Templar, basically. Despise you. Even docile ones will attack you. And based on your reputation, you'll have different things. So, for example, as you can see, succulents don't care about you, but aggressive ones will attack you. And the Snapjaws dislike you, but docile ones won't attack. I'm not welcome in their holy places. These guys will just go to town on me. They see me, they want me dead. Does anyone actually like me? Well, Joppa isn't so bad. Don't care about you, but aggressive ones will attack you. You aren't welcome in their holy places. Well, the villagers of Joppa are interested in sharing secrets about apple farms, pig farms, and the sultan they worship, and locations in the salt marsh. There's so much in this world. It like borders on Dwarf Fortress level of world building depth. We're really, really happy. Doggos like us. Oh, this is amazing. Dogs favor you. Aggressive ones won't attack you. You're welcome in their holy places. Dogs are interested in trading secrets about the locations of humanoid settlements and sultans they admire or despise. They are also interested in hearing gossip that's about them. Ah, glorious. Glorious. Right, in terms of quests, we have none yet. Our journal. Locations, gossip, and lore. Sultan histories, we know nothing of any of these village histories. Chronology, this is when we arrived in Joppa. General notes, and recipes. We don't know any of these things. Tinkering, we don't know how to build anything yet. We have no skills for that. This is our skills. There are lots of them. As you can see, I'll open up all of the trees so you can have a good look at how much there is for you to learn. And you'll notice many of them have stat requirements, which is, well, this is part where early on you're going to be very limited because you're never going to be able to make a character that can even access half of these skills. But you will be able to rise your stats as you go, and then from that you'll get more and more and more opened up to you. But you're going to want to specialize in quite a few things. Typically, for example, if I wanted anything in the tinkering tree, I would first have to spend 100 skill points to unlock tinkering. And then I would get Gadget Inspector for free because it costs nothing. But then anything else I want in tinkering, I'd have to spend skill points on, and so on and so forth. This is my character sheet. My mutations over there. You can see that some have got levels. Clairvoyance is at level 1, light manipulation and pyrokinesis, all at level 1. But if we have a look at those, so click here, this mutation's effect is increased by 2 due to our high ego. I can't advance its level because of that. For a little while, I'm not going to be able to advance it because you could make way overpowered. But as a result, at my level, I briefly gain vision of a nearby area. It'll take 75 turns between. The vision radius is 4, and it'll last for 18 turns. And every time I level this up, it gets a little bit larger vision radius and lasts for a bit more time. Light manipulation. I produce ambient light within a radius of 4. I may focus the light into a laser beam. It's got a penetration of 4, so on and so forth. Well, actually, I think my quality is actually a little bit more powerful than that because of the 2 levels that it's being raised. But it'll always report what the base level is for me. But that one is going to be my main method of taking things out. Pyrokinesis will be the secondary method. It's got a cooldown though, whereas the light one, well, it kind of has a cooldown, but I've got a buffer. I've got a battery of light that I can use over time. But this one does a lot of damage. Comparatively, that one's a boss killer. And we will see that we can buy new mutations for 4 mutation points. Once I've got 4 mutation points. We don't have any right now. We've got attribute points, skill points, and all sorts of things in between. We can increase our attributes and we can see active effect and the like. And then we're back to inventory. Right. Okay, so there's loads of things that we can do here. There's loads of people around that we can talk to. Let's go and have a talk with this. Oh, no. I don't want to turn anyone. Why are you trying to kill? Why am I trying to kill people? Oh, yeah, that's just regular C, not shift C. I was trying to burn everyone. Actually, I was trying to use clairvoyance. But we're talking with Mehmet. Live and drink, friend. May you find shade in Joppa. What can you tell me about Joppa? You would be wise to speak with Elder Irudad. Look for his hut to the north. Okay. But I am in search of work. Some critters are eating our water vine. Farouk claims he saw one slinking around a vine patch. Ugly little thing, he says. Pale white, 8 legs, and ear-splitting whine. I noticed a bit of red dirt in the water vine pool. The same we find in the soil at the nearby cave to the north we call Red Rock. Travel to Red Rock and kill as many of these critters as you can. Bring back the corpse of 1, 2. Elder Irudad will reward your efforts. I will do as you ask. There we go. I've received the new quest, What's Eating the Water Vine? And that has ended our chat. But there's more you can do. And this is something that a lot of people miss. At this point, we can also say, your thirst is mine, my water is yours. And this is the water ritual. You can consider this along the lines of the Fremen if they were to spit at your feet. They're giving their water. It's a sign of great respect because water is so precious. It's much the same here. Or crying amongst the Fremen. That is you giving water to the dead sort of thing. But you can press tab. Most people are willing to trade something. We could buy a single vine wafer here. We're not going to. Be aware with trading, they don't give you change. If I were to trade for this, 0.02 dollars worth of water, I would have to give them a full $1 worth of water. There's no sense. You can't split water up into smaller amounts, even though you can charge smaller amounts for it. But that's fine. We're not going to do the water ritual yet. The more you do with that, there's a bit of an issue with that because everyone likes someone and everyone also hates someone or is hated by someone. And the more friendly you become with one person, someone's going to take notice and become less of a friend to you. And it kind of sucks. Right, hello, the zealot of the 6-a-day stilt. Wanderer, orphan of the salt, hear me. To the north and west, through the great salt desert, the 6-a-day stilt splits the earth in 2. Seek there the grandeur of Shekinah. Shekinah. First among fathers, release yourself from the burden that Chrome bears on your sickly flesh. Go, now. I could take this quest. You intrigue me. I will make the journey and see the 6-a-day stilt for myself. Or what waits for me there? Or hold your tongue, soothsayer. Their salt pools in blood beneath the feet of those who dare command me. I'm going to ask what's there. Deliverance waits for all pilgrims. At the site you will find the cathedral, magnificent in its splendor. There are statues erected in honor of the Argent Fathers. There are sublime reliefs depicting our most cherished occasions. Here, too, the wisdom of Eshlastad II, our highest priest, and make a donation at the sacred well. Worship at the light sculptures of Shekinah himself. You will find other pilgrims among the merchant tents at the Stilt Grounds Bazaar. Other converts and priests. You will be among friends. I waste precious spit on your stilt. Leave me be. No, we're going to go there. I accept the quest. Very well, I will make the journey and see the 6-day stilt for myself. Oh, glorious Shekinah. Very well. Now, most of these names are incredibly difficult to pronounce. Not everyone has something to say. If we chat with the water vine farmer here, live and drink, friend. I could say live and drink, or can I see if you have something I could buy vine wafer sheaf. Now that, I believe, is actual food. It's cooked food. Much like my goat jerky. Whereas just a vine wafer is not. But we could cook it somewhere. But no, I'm not going to trade just yet. Now, other things, we've got some other notable characters. Now, there is a way to auto-explore. And it is super useful. I don't tend to do it, though. I may use it a little bit later, but it basically just has your character go around the whole map and uncover all of the darkness. But I like to be a little bit more specific in my movements. Ain't they wishing the heart keep pumping? Move along if they do. Your thirst is mine, my water is yours. Warden Ulraig. No, what do you have to trade? You trade glow spheres. Don't need them, but you know they carry quite a hefty value. You can also look at pretty much everything. So, for example, Warden Ulraig. Big Ulraig shifts his weight between his hind and forelegs. He shakes a dander off the chopped surface of the great curling horns that splay from his temples. One hand holds a purring blade. The other, lame and frostbitten, reminds us that while Mother Nature may bestow splendid gifts upon his children, he is still sister to cruelty. Interesting. Loved by Fellowship of the Wardens, admired by the villagers of Joppa. Equipped, chainmail, horn, engraved weird artifact, icy vapor, painted leather boots. Lots of things can have paintings or be inscribed with jewelry and stuff, so always look at things that are painted because they can have pretty cool things on them. And up to the north is the Elder. Let's close that door. No, that is not it. What was it? Was it... Can I have a missile weapon? That's good. Oh, it's space. That's right. Space pretty much interacts with the closest thing to you. Right, let's have a chat on Elder Irudad. Live and drink, wayfarer. Welcome to the Oasis of Joppa. Here you will find shade and victual, along with other provisions to help you better scour the rust caves for treasure. Above all else, you may drink of our fresh water and quench your thirst. Thank you. What can you tell me about Joppa? Joppa is an oasis hamlet nestled between the eastern reaches of the Great Salt Pans and the jungles of Qud. We are a community of water vine farmers. These groves lie along some of the few tracts of land tame enough to grow water vine. Can you tell me about Qud? Qud is a strange and terrifying mesa to the northeast. Her tainted rivers breed life in all its motley forms. Her poisoned jungles shelter priceless relics of a forgotten past. But that is just the half of it, for Qud's most precious treasures, and her most hideous children, lie within the innumerable Chrome Caverns beneath the scarlet loam. To ply those silver hallows, a spry adventurer's dream. The years have wizened me beyond such foolish ambitions, but you, be not deterred so. So that's kind of hinting at the fact that the Chrome Caverns, basically, the sort of science fiction fantasy, post-apocalyptic stuff. So, sand and rust and things have created surfaces of sand across the tops of chrome steeples and towers. Ah, it's wonderful. What do you have to trade, Elder Irudad? Illuminated my wandering. What be this? Let's have a look at that. I'd like to look at it. An unadorned codex of goatskin valium. Illuminated, this book is adorned with decorative marginalia and illustrations. It's worth 30% more. Oh, okay. Black plastic covered. Covered what? An unadorned codex of goatskin valium. Okay, just a bunch of books, but very bloody expensive books at that. I can't afford any of them. Very well. My thanks, Elder. Live and drink. Well, you can go around and you can try and grab things if you want to. I don't recommend it, not in a room where someone is looking. Specifically just those rooms, though. Let's have a look at this fire. The fire beneath breathes its warmth onto your bones. We can eat some apple malts, which is the food that is being prepared here at Joppa, and we can just come here and fill that up whenever we particularly want to, or we can make our own meals. Choose ingredients to cook with, cook from a recipe, preserve your fresh fruits. We're going to eat some fresh apple malts. You eat the meal. You start to metabolize the meal, gaining the following effects for the rest of the day. 12% regeneration, and we thirst at half rate. Fantastic. As you can tell, very, very useful, those sorts of things. Now, is there anything else I wanted to talk to you about? Your thirst is mine, my water is yours. We could begin the water ritual. I like Elder Irudad, and I do recommend you do this, so sure. You share water with Elder Irudad and begin the water ritual. Your reputation with the village of Joppa has changed by 125. But because they dislike Elder Irudad, your reputation with mollusks has changed by -50. And because they despise Elder Irudad, your reputation with baboons has changed to -100. Now, your reputation with the village of Joppa is -15. Elder Irudad can award an additional 100 reputation. We could do all sorts of things. We could share secrets with me, and for 50 reputation we get that. We could learn how to make the apple mats ourselves. We could also be taught how the skill of harvestry without having to spend our skill points on it. That is actually pretty amazing. Or if I had a ridiculous amount of reputation, I could just get them to come along and help me out. I can't right now, but we've more or less already annoyed everyone who dislikes the people here in Joppa, so we may as well capitalize on that and perform the water ritual with everyone we can. Also, this box, there's no one else here. Loot it. This is not owned by you. Are you sure you want to open it? Yes, because no one will see. As a new player, definitely do this. Once you're more confident with things, you don't need to. Muddy Tube, that's an artifact. That is definitely worth taking. You may as well take all of this. Trade goods are always useful. Let's close that. Close all the way around. It is impolite to not only steal from these people, but to leave all their doors open. No, no, no. Vine wafer, cracked lens, some scrap there. I'll take all of that. But again, once you get used to the game, I recommend you don't do that, because it does it gives you a big leg up in the game, but you don't necessarily need. Let's have a pat of this cat. Your pet Stesiphus for good luck. Stesiphus says meow. You start to glow. Soft growling. Can I trade with you? Stesiphus has nothing to trade. Very well. Live and drink, Stesiphus. If we have a look at Stesiphus. 1-star ribboned knight, a ray cat crossed the marshy loam and wandered into Joppa. The Watervine farmers, weakened by the joyful cries of a small girl, gathered round to revel at the favourable omen and extol the generosity of the beetle moon. Since then, Stesiphus has spent his days curled under the shade of brinestall cuts and sauntering over dirt paths. So long as he is approached with care, he welcomes the hands of friends and strangers alike. He is phosphorescent and quite docile. Marvellous. Right, these things here are... well, actually, I am looking at Stesiphus. Can I... If I move up here, I should be able to have a look at it. There we are. These are watervine. Salt gathers in its furrows. It's knotted with moisture-swollen wafers in place of leaves. And that's where we get our water vapor from. Watervine from. Live and drink. We could buy some more watervine, but I'd be wasting so much money on that if I tried. There we go. The Shrine of Qud, the wintry devil of Halep. The shrine depicts a significant event from the life of the ancient Sultan Qud. On the night of the full moon, a babe was found swaddled with a freezing snowflake in each hand by a group of swine in Halep. They took him into their fold and fostered him, and he became known as Qud, frosty seed of swine. I discovered the location of Halep. By checking out things like that is procedurally written, by the way. By checking these sorts of things out, you discover not only locations, you can discover people and just rumors. The note of the location of Halep in the locations historic site section of our journal. Now we can go to that place, and I've received a request to visit Halep. Note this piece of information in the Sultan Histories Qud section of our journal. So if we actually go into our journal now, which should be over here, we'll find that we've got a historic site. I can toggle the map display on or off. I can also actually just completely get rid of it if I really wanted to. Don't really think I do. If I hit enter on it, it will bring up any kind of information I have about it. 3 parsangs west and 1 parsang north of Red Rock. So we're going to Red Rock anyway. We might actually go check it out. Let's see down here. Nothing in that room. And over here, we will find the merchant. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but the merchant isn't of Joppa. It's just a merchant. So the things we take from Joppa, doesn't care about it. You can absolutely take from this box. And we've got a weird artifact. A torch, unburnt, beaded bracelets, and copper nuggets. Now, trade goods are especially useful. If we go into my inventory, we've already got a couple of things in here. We've got a club, for example. The beaded bracelets and the copper nuggets are worth a decent amount of money, but they are significantly less voluminous and heavy than the water of equivalent value. Now, that's the other thing about having water as your currency, is water is not a light thing. So the more wealthy you become in terms of water, the less carrying capacity you have for any other loot, because you're being weighed down by the weight of your money, effectively, which is why trade goods are so useful, because they represent a lot of wealth in a much smaller shape. It's much the same as, using bread to trade for things, or you've got a gem, because, who wants to carry around 4 tons worth of bread to make a purchase of a palace? No, you'll just give them a pouch full of gems. Right, let's have a quick chat with Tam, the Dromad Merchant. Welcome, human. What do you desire? Well, what kind of creature are you? I am Dromad, human. A salt strider. Very well. Let us see what you have to trade. There's lots of things I could sell here that I'm not going to. I am, however, going to sell pretty much all of these. Oh, I didn't mean to press. Oh, I traded for nothing. There we are, and all of those. The crack lenses, I've got no particular use for scrap right now, so maybe, I don't know though. This small box, I happen to know what things are based on just looking at them. The strange tubes, for example, I can sort of tell what these things are. It's funny when you actually discover it for the first time. Some things are... They cost a lot until you identify them, and then you realize, oh, right. But because once you've identified them, you sell them for the price that they're worth, and that is quite often a lot less than the pre-identified version. Now, I would really like a good range weapon and a very decent close range weapon. Some drams of honey, wine. You can more or less put any liquid into a water skin, and that includes blood if you particularly want to. There's plenty of food here as well, some bear jerky that we can use. Not so sure about that one though. Bandages. We are definitely going to want some of these. I'm going to take just a couple. We'll take 3 bandages. Those will help if I start to bleed, which is unfortunately quite likely. Now, carbide battle axe. Now, I'll quickly go over the information here. This is the main one that you're going to have trouble understanding, because it's quite different to most systems. This one, obviously, 1d4 plus 1. Yeah, most people will understand what that means. That's the amount of damage you'll do if you pierce their armor. Now, this is the penetration value of the weapon, and that is the maximum penetration you can get based on strength bonuses. As we saw, strength affects the penetration of melee weapons, and that's what this is. We can take this all the way up to 8 based on strength. Now, the way the penetration works, from what I recall, is whenever you try to attack someone, you roll basically 3 dice. There's 3 2-hit chances. And you add that dice to the weapon's penetration and compare it to various things against the enemy's armor value, and if you, which is also effectively rolling against you. And if you score a hit, then if your penetration roll on any of the 3 is better, then you'll do the stated damage for each one that wins the contest. If you penetrate with all 3, or it might just be more than 1, then you get to roll again, but all your penetration is treated as lower, so I think your penetration drops by 1 or 2 each time you go through the cycle. So a very high penetration weapon can result in enormous amounts of damage being dealt, because you're almost multi-attacking in a way. I will refresh my memory on that one, because it is a bit of a complicated mechanic, that one. It's certainly one of the more difficult ones to get my head around. Different sized weapons all have different sort of properties. I wouldn't mind a carbide longsword though. That would be particularly nice. We have a look at that. Carbide longsword. A curved sword with a dull grey blue metal blade, which is carbide. Strength bonus cap is 4. It's a long blade, so it gets bonus damage on a critical hit. Battle axe, by comparison, cleaves armor on critical hit, so we would permanently reduce their armor. A mace, cudgel will daze on a critical hit. A dagger causes bleeding on a critical hit. All sorts of things. The desert rifle, as you can see, has a very high penetration, but it's obviously you're going to be using resources to keep firing that. You have to have ammunition. This simple magazine-loaded rifle is common hunting gun in the tribes of men. Accuracy is on the medium, though. I definitely want some of these things, so I'm going to sell the club. I am going to sell the cracked lens. That brings me up to 20 drams plus 63 drams. I'm already trading for a bunch. I would rather not sell all of my money, all of my water, because I'm going to need it. But I really would like a good weapon to start off with. I could go for a musket. It's actually a fairly cheap weapon as far as weapons go. Alternatively, I could go for a longsword or a battle axe. I think battle axes will tend towards strength, at which I've got a decent amount of, so sure, we're going to take a carbide battle axe. Right, okay, let's confirm the trade. I'll have to pony up 39 drams of fresh water to even up the trade. Is that okay? Yes, it is. Womp, trade complete. Thank you! Right, with that, let's close that. And I need to equip some things. Right now I'm wielding a staff in my right hand. I'm going to remove that and I'm going to equip the carbide battle axe. There we go. Now I could have a dagger in my offhand and I'll occasionally make attacks, but for now it's not something we're going to worry about. I'll go back to the merchant to sell my staff in a little bit though. Right. Yeah, I just walked over a torch. Don't think too much about it. It's fine. I'm fireproof. Let's see. You're not actually fireproof. Avoid walking over normal fires, but that's basically I was just occupying the same tile as that piece of furniture in that instance, and that instance as well. Auto walk, just holding down in a direction, not the best thing to do. An etched and painted terracotta sign. Okay. Right, let's head on down into here, and hello. Argive, mumbling. Tensile strength of Reblon, but lacking in dino elasticity. Retro threading. The M-band would probably... Oh! I didn't notice you there. That's because I was ignoring you. Noting a trace yield of synthetic linseed solvent. I'm just going to hang around. Unexpected deviation from clan cons. Must you disturb me? What are you? Some sort of treasure hunter? At the very least, you can make yourself useful and bring me a knick-knack from one of the caves. I may reward you. Where can I find such a cave? It's a stupid question, but I'll ask it anyway. There are caves everywhere, you adult. This is Qud. Try the rust wells just east of here. Very well, I will return with the knick-knack. Also, you can trade. And Argive is basically a scientist, so you can trade to buy scrap if you want to, or some really valuable trade goods. Or data disks. We are not going to have any use for data disks for quite some time, until we get our intelligence up and start looking into tinkering, so that we can start building these things. At that point, we'll want scrap as well, because we can break the scrap down into bits that we can use to make those things. So we'll accept the quest. You've received a new quest. Fetch Argive a knick-knack. And I've also finished the step, find a knick-knack. The quest, fetch Argive a knick-knack. Hooray! I've got a knick-knack. In fact, I've got two. A small muddy tube and a weird artifact. Realistically, I should have actually bought some of the really cheap knick-knacks that Dromad merchant had. Here's a knick-knack. I will give you a weird a small muddy tube. I don't know what it is. In fact, I should probably research it first, but you can have it. You finished the step, a return to Argive of the quest, fetch Argive a knick-knack, and received 75 EXP. You've completed the quest. It appears you may be useful after all. Now go fetch me another trinket. If I must. You received a new quest, but I've also finished it because I had two. I think I started with one, and then I found another one on the floor, inside a crate. On the floor inside a crate, inside a building. Found it, just abandoned out in the wilderness. Who would do such a thing? Very well, I have brought you another knick-knack. Standing in my light, what do you want? Here's a weird artifact. Now, I've given up a fairly similar weird artifact. Was probably a grenade, and the tube was very likely an injector of some sort. Basically a potion. So we receive 150 EXP, hooray! And I've gained a level. Do that quest if you can. You can almost always find enough knickknacks, even if you have to buy them, to just complete that quest before you even leave Joppa. And then you'll leave it at level 2. Gain 4 hit points, 78 skill points, and 1 mutation point. I've completed the quest. Fetch Argive another knickknack. Good, good. Quite impressive, treasure hunter. Maybe you're fit to poke around my workshop here. I've been wanting another apprentice. So unfortunate what happened to Scref. What with the disembowelment and all. Well, take a seat. There. Is that next to where Scref got disemboweled? All right. Now, let me explain. I'm on the cusp of a grand discovery. When I'm done assembling the weird wire conduit, you'll be able to speak to anyone from here to Kaifas. First, though, I'm going to need some copper wire, as much as you can find, at least 200 feet. You should be able to scavenge enough from the rust wells nearby caves. As you say, I'll go fetch the wire. I've received a new quest. Fantastic. And some, notes saying, hooray, I'm awesome. I leveled up. Right, let's go and spend that point. We've got a mutation point. I could spend it on any of these. I can't right now. They are all a higher level because it's not letting me have them at too much of a higher level. I think my level is the limit to how high these can be. But I'm basically getting free levels in them because of my high ego. I'll take them all the way up to level 3 automatically due to that. So we're not going to be spending that mutation point for a while. And because of the high ego, I often find, at least if you've got a lot of mental mutations, you're probably not going to be able to rise them yourself for a while. And night vision doesn't have an extra level. You can't level night vision up. It doesn't get any better. It results in me having the 4 points to buy the mutation before I'm even tempted to start spending it here and there. Right, we've got some skill points that I could spend somewhere if I really want to. I could get Mind's Compass, which would double the chance of gaining my bearings if I get lost, or even learn, get a wilderness lore. Double the chance of interesting encounters while traveling into salt marshes and water vine field. I mean, that might not be bad. I've got enough intelligence for it. I don't have enough intelligence for jungles, unfortunately. Acrobatics, I could learn that for 75 and I'd get swift reflexes. You gain a +5 bonus to your dodge value when flinching away from missile attacks. Or I could go for Axe. Axe proficiency for 50 skill points. I get a +2 to hit with axes. I quite like this idea. So we're going to go and grab that. We've got a weapon skill for us. There we are. Now, I'm not going to be able to take any of the others in Axe proficiency for a little while. I'm going to need to get my strength up a tad bit, but we are close to getting our strength up. The first attribute point I could spend in there if I want to, and then I'd be able to at least grab Cleave. I'd need Charge in order to get Charging Strike, and Charge is one of the other ones down here. Cooking and meal preparation. It is actually quite worth getting these. Harvestry, butchery, and meal preparation if you can. Well worth it, but, we're not going to do it for now. The glow dims until it's extinguished. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Now, hello. Moon and Sun, Wisdom and Will. Thank you. No servants, we don't need that. Now, there is a little spot there. As you saw, I've just discovered that little crack. A small crack is revealed. That is kind of a shortcut to let you approach the What's Eating the Water Vine quest. I would strongly recommend you don't do that, though. Not early on. By the way, if you're so inclined, you can murderize the sage, the 6-day stilt, the zealot. Sorry, no one likes them. But really, nicking the stuff. I mean, finding things in their houses is one thing. Murderizing people around, quite another. Oh, did I miss this? I did. My bad. Quilted shawl. Oh, very nice. And some more vine wafer. Okay, I've got a quilted shawl. It is clothing. I can automatically equip it, and it is now worn on back. And so it gives me nothing of value. It actually gives me no armor and reduces my dodge ability. But let's have a quick look. A comely multicolored shawl, sure to distinguish its wearer from the rest of the pack. It gives me some cold resist. I don't actually want it though. So we're going to remove it. In fact, I'm going to go then and sell it as well. Let's close that and we can head on over here. Have a quick old chat to our merchant friend. Get rid of the shawl. Get rid of the staff. We'll get almost 8. We'll only get 7. It always goes in the merchant's favor. If I try to trade for 7 point anything, I'll get 7. If they try to trade for 7 point anything, they'll get 8. Bloody merchants. We could have bought the strange tubes if I really wanted to. I'm not going to, though. Don't need it. I, in fact, really want the water, so we're just going to offer that up. We'll get 7 drams of fresh water, and that's fine. Thank you very much indeed. So, with that all done, let's actually go back to Mehmet. I would like to try and increase my standing in the town. I will give up 1 dram of water to initiate the water ritual. And there we are. Reputation with the villagers of Joppa is changed by 125. Because they despied Mehmet, your reputation with bears has changed to minus 100. There we go. I can ask them to share a secret with me, which will probably be like some sort of quest or just a location of interest. I could ask to learn their favorite dish. Might be okay. But really what I want to learn is harvestry for 75 reputation. Just because I won't then have to use skill points to unlock it. So will you teach me your ways? Your reputation with the villagers have dropped by 75. That's fine. We're still in the positive. And we have learned harvestry. I've gained an activated ability. Harvest plants. A to use activated abilities. There we are. Live and drink, friend. And live and drink, friend. Have you tied in from Red Rock? I'm working on it, man. Live and drink. There we go. Right, so in terms of our skills, if you press A, you bring up your actual abilities. Now, right now, clairvoyance is Shift C. My laser beam, Shift A. Ambient light is toggled on. Don't want that to be toggled on. No, I don't want to actually do that either. I want to use space to toggle it off. And this way, I'm not casting a light around myself. I don't need to. I can see in the dark. I want other things not to be able to see me, and that does matter. Skill, menacing stare, intimidate, proselytize, and harvest plants, which is currently toggled on. Walking over certain plants, I will occasionally harvest them. So I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Or interacting with them in some way, I believe. I can make a camp and just set up a campfire for cooking meals and preserving foods. I can't make it in combat. We're not going to be doing that one for now. For the time being, though, there are certain things I want to do. Pretty much, I would like to Shift Z for clairvoyance, Shift X for lasers. I'm not going to have that one, and Shift C for toast. There we go. So I've got my my power abilities all connected down there, and that should be good for me. Now you can just head out, or if you use the up key, which is the left pointing triangle bracket, it's pretty much normal roguelike stuff. You go out onto the world map, and this place looks amazing. We're currently looking in Joppa, and everything here is so good. That's the salt dunes. The Ivory Sea's dunes are like waves of frozen in place. There are cracks in the salt from where the earth, blistered by the jeweled sun, contracted and broke. The horizon melts the sky together with the vast plain of Mogria Yi, the Great Salt Desert. If you have a bit of a look, it looks like a coast, so it was some ocean at some point. All the way up here, the 6-day stilt. The 6-day stilt rises from the dunes like a petrified kraken corpse bearing down upon the vacant flats. All sorts of things over here. We have the Omniporch, the hallowed ground upon which the spindle, a lengthless needle of Maya blue, meets the earth from where it pierces the firmament. I'm assuming a space elevator of some sort. I've never actually visited the spindle in this game, so I do not know. There's all sorts of other places, ruins and things, towns you'll find around the place. Down here is a little town, Kayakukia, a jungle village of ape god worshippers and their giant mushroom dwellings. Over here we've got the Grit Gate. There's so many awesome places, but in these places, only a few of them are crafted. Like the towns, for example, Kayakukia is crafted, but each one of these tiles represents many, many, many like screens worth of procedurally generated content. Over here we have the Rust Wells. These are the ones I would recommend going to rather than Red Rock because they are much easier early dungeons. We've also got Halep, the place that we learnt of from the statue. Now we're going to be heading over to the Rust Wells. So right now we're passing a lot of time by moving across the salt marsh, and now we're into the desert canyons. We could go down at any point to explore the tiles more thoroughly, and there is a certain advantage to that because you'll get an opportunity to do roguelike stuff, i.e. killing enemies, which might be jackal men or whatever, and leveling up. But we're going to go straight to the Rust Wells, and then we're going to go down with the down key. Hello, Rust Wells. Tarry Rustwells is where we are, and this right here is a giant dragonfly. Big diaphanous wings about the air as it drones in place. Equipped bite wings. It can't hurt me though because it's too high up. I don't think it really want to. It's flying, and that's what that little icon means. Now, while we're here, there's a good chance we're going to encounter something that is not going to be nice to us. That is a pool of 2,000 drams of asphalt. Liquid asphalt. Fantastic. To the north, we have a plant. This is kudzu. This plant is a densely twisted mat of metallic fibers and long, billowing red fronds, which wave gently towards you on an unfelt breeze. It is reaching for us. It is hostile. So we're going to laser beam it. Right there. Ciao. This is why laser beams are so great. We gained 10 EXP. Over there, we've got a dreadroot. Its swollen tube is hum. Those can actually terrify you, so be aware of that. We've got a couple of different creatures here, and I am 100% going to murderize the dragonfly for its precious, precious EXP. There we are. Gained 10 EXP. And there's also a snapjaw scavenger. Tussocks of fur. Dress, skin stretched over taut muscles. Upright he stands, but he looks ready to drop onto fours. His snout snarls and his ears twitch. He barks, and his hyena tribesmen answer. Swarmer. This creature receives +1 to its 2-hit and penetration rolls for each other swarmer beyond the first who is adjacent to its current target. And it's got some weapons. They will be your initial loot goblins. Now, we could eat that corpse if we wanted to. Not gonna, because that's a little bit filthy. I'm being shot at by something. Don't like that at all. Let's stay out of the way. Let's wait for things to approach me down here instead. Like right there. Laser beam to the face. Laser beam to the face. Perfect. Now, over there, we do have a corpse. If I move in, I should be able to get some stuff. I could take the corpse if I wanted to. I don't want to. I just want the bronze mace, and I'm not going to eat the corpse because that's just it's not a good meal, peoples. Not good at all. Now, I can attack. How I automatically attack? I have no idea. Attack. No, that's my abilities. There is definitely a way we can do this. Let me bring up the key mapping. Use talk, blah blah, fire missile. That's fine. Auto explore. Numpad 0. Thank you. Thank you very much. Movement. We want to move up. Force attack. There we are. Control and then a numpad in that direction. Alright, that's good. Pow! There we are. We've killed the dreadroot. That can sometimes drop some nice stuff for us. If you're lucky enough to get like a tuber from it, it's super nice. And we're just going to kill the jilted lover. I should actually read the information on jilted lovers so you can see it. A swarthy wall vine that embraces lovers and doesn't care to see them go. Hence, jilted lover. If that grabs hold of you, it basically tries to strangle you. We'll take you out, and then we're going to laser beam a little bit more. Eventually, our battery of laser beam charges is going to be gone. And it isn't gone just yet, thankfully, but it will eventually. We've got a lot more that we can do with that, and it regenerates every 15 turns by 1 level, but that's only because our skills are so high right now. Let's take you out. This is why I like mind lasers. Ooh! Disapprove. Disapprove of you guys. That is a giant amoeba, a massive quivering gelatinous slime. You barely perceive the outline of something inside. Well, I could totally laser beam you as well. There we are. And we can now see over here, because it's tracking that I've attacked something, and it is currently injured. The giant amoeba takes 8 damage from my laser beam ×3. My laser beam pierced its armor so well that I hit 3 times. Or rather, did the damage 3 times. Don't think of it as in multi-attack, although I did say that earlier. It is rolling the attack roll multiple times, but think of it more like if you had a knife and you just slashed someone, but the cut was only skin deep, you did 1 times its damage potential. If the cut was a little bit deeper and you reached like muscle, then you did the damage to the skin layer, and then you did the damage to the muscle layer. If you slashed so deep it started hitting organs, then you might have tripled that damage. Think of it more like that. The damage represents how deeply that wound went. It wasn't just superficial. It went deep and it hurt a lot more than normal. Do I have any more laser beam charges left? I do. I am, however, running out. I only did 2 damage that time. Once more. Okay, it tried to hit me, but I dodged. The giant amoeba takes 7 damage from my laser beam. And the giant amoeba misses you. And once more. I can't anymore. I no longer have that ability. So I'm just going to hack it with my battle axe. I did a good amount of damage. And I gained 25 EXP. That is now slime on the floor. If I wanted to, I could put that into a water skin. Why? I have no idea. You'd have to be a bit weird. But yeah, it's super slippery. It's slime. What did you expect? Hard to move on. I'm slipping all over the place. Right. I need to wait for my abilities to charge back up. Over here, you've got a little bit of information in that this is showing me which abilities I've got a charge on. I've got 1 charge on my laser. So I want to try and use that to the best of my ability. I don't think I'm going to be able to hit at this distance. I could hit you, but you notice that grey X means I'm out of range. Second on this one. I don't want to be anywhere near the jilted lover, though. Can I hit you? I can. Kapow. Okay, that's good enough. Oh, there's another one down there. Don't like it. I'm going to need to wait a little bit to... there's nothing to take. That's fine. Let's just dodge back and forth a little bit. Now, I'm not getting near those plants for a very specific reason. They're actually super annoying. In that when they grab you, they can hold on to you for quite some time. The kudzu, though, is especially bad because the kudzu, if it can manage to grab hold of you, will... It has a potential of rusting anything that's made of metal. Not something you want when you're carrying an extremely expensive battle axe. Right, I'm disliking you, plant. Be gone from this place. Just outside of my range, I think. Or maybe outside of my sight range. I might be able to see all the way down there because of my my laser beam abilities. Sure. Pow. Move in a little bit. Now, if I wanted to use clairvoyance, I could totally do that. And whamp. Now I've got a good sight down there. Torch. I can drop this right about here. I'm going to demonstrate something, though. I will effectively set those trees on fire. And then they're gone. The flaming dogthorn tree is destroyed. Everything has a certain amount of damage. And you see those like smoke effects moving across. Be aware. Smoke is bad. That's obvious. Fire is bad. That's obvious. Walking on fire, I'll set you on fire. Walking into steam is probably the #1 way that I have lost ridiculously OP characters in this game. Steam is no joke. Likewise, rivers of combusted oil or whatever, super bad. Getting close to a hot boiling liquid is bad for you. You start taking damage. But if, for example, you're stood in a pool of water and you use a flame ability nearby, don't be too surprised if the sudden onrushing ultra scalding steam literally melts the skin off your character who has up to this point been wrestling giant robot tanks. It sucks in the most enormous way, and yet I still go with fire abilities because I'm stupid. Right, ooh, we've also got the copper nugget. I've got auto collection on for certain items. Copper nuggets are amongst them. Some leather armor there and a bronze battle axe. I think I would like all of those. Yes, please. We're leaving behind the corpse. Because obviously don't want to just be carrying around a corpse. Why would I do that? Especially a corpse that isn't particularly delicious. Oh, hello. Kind of don't want to fight you, though. Could I? Ooh. It is now stuck in the asphalt. I could I don't think enough time has passed. Yeah, I've got to wait another 17 turns before I can use that ability. So I'll just laser you a little bit. And again. There we are. And now, this is... Well, this is slime. And this is slimy asphalt. It's wonderful, this game. It's got so many things. But this thing that popped up, that is a young ivory. Packed into rents in the shale are spinescent shoots of blooming ivory. They will stab you in the feet and you will bleed. And that is another way that I've found that I tend to lose early characters, is dying to bleeding to young ivories, which is why I didn't go with anything that would make bleeding harder to get rid of. It's really, really annoying. Let's take you out. What we're going to do is in this episode, it's already gone on quite a long time, but I did want to spend enough time to properly explain everything, because this game does have a lot to it. It's a very deep game. We're going to just explore this outside area enough to know what's around, and then we're going to go down those stairs to the Rust Wells proper and find out what we can find out. Giant dragonfly corpse. I mean, I could eat it. Snapjaw corpse. I could do a lot of things. This is 50 feet of wire strand. We absolutely want to get that. Yep. Now, the thing with wire strands, there's lots of different lengths of them, like 1 feet, 50 feet, 2 feet, 10 feet. They all weigh the same amount, or rather they take up the same amount of kind of volume and weight in your inventory. So only pick up the 50s and you'll save yourself a lot of time. Alright, let's take you out over there. Kudzu is gone. Got some boulders around the place. It's got a lot of dead creatures around the place too. Bronze dagger, a water skin. Oh, I like. We'll definitely take that. A woven tunic, actually, as well. Might not be a bad choice. Bronze longsword, a wooden buckler. This is the other thing I really like about this game. If something has an item on it, it has that item. Which means if you kill it, you can take it. But be aware, the NPCs in this game are not stupid. They will absolutely... Tar-encrusted bones, don't care for that. Tar-encrusted bones. Oh, let me out, thank you. They will absolutely use those things. If they got a grenade, don't assume that they're not going to use it on you, because that would be silly. They will, and they will kill you. Right, I want to get close enough. It's shooting at me. It actually did hit me there. Did a little bit of damage. Not a great deal, but you know what? For that, you scoundrel. I would like to know what this is. Snapjaw corpse. I don't know what it's got, so I don't necessarily want to set that on fire, but I am totally going to roasty toasty you. Pow. And while that's going on, I'm going to mind laser all of these. I've gained a level. Hooray! And now level 3. You gain 4 hit points, 78 skill points, 1 mutation point, and 1 attribute point. Marvelous. The jilted lover dies. Okay, well that's actually a pretty good place. And this is another reason. Take things slow. Kill things. You'll get the first early levels, and they'll be very, very important to you. I am going to... See, I can use that point. It's no longer a case of 2 points per level up. I could take that, absolutely, and get my ego up even further. Instead, now I know I said I was going to go for strength, but there's a reason why I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to use 1 AP to increase my willpower by 1 level. There we are. And that's going to help out in a number of ways. Every so many levels, I believe it's every 5 levels, you will gain an attribute point in every attribute automatically. Which is why I'm getting so many to just 1 point below the threshold where the modifier changes. On our level up, strength will go to 19, won't change anything. But agility, intelligence, willpower, and ego will all level up their attribute modifiers, which is going to be a big thing for us. We've got 2 mutation points, we've got a lot of skill points currently, which is quite nice. Let's go and have a look. Is there much we want over here? Tactful. Whenever you begin the water ritual with a new creature, you gain 25 bonus reputation. If you purchase this power after you treat with a creature, you gain 25 bonus reputation the next time you treat with them. When beings have personal pronouns set, you know them without being told. That's wonderful, actually. I like that. I like that's a part of that of customs and folklore. That makes a lot of sense with regards to the skill. Inspiring presence, we don't need that one at all. Menacing stare. You stare down a nearby opponent and send them fleeing in terror. And intimidate, cooldown 50. You try to terrify adjacent hostile creatures. 1d8 plus ego modifier, so for us it would be 1d8 plus 2 currently. Penetration roll versus their mental armor. On a success, a frightened creature flees from you for 4d4 turns. Nice. Make a camp. Mind compass. Don't think we want that. We could go for things like spry and jump. Acrobatics will give us swift reflexes. And gain a bonus 2 to our dodge, which would be very nice. We don't get swift reflexes for now, though. I could go for bow and rifle. It would give me... I don't have agility enough to get those. But cooking and gathering might not be bad. If I got 100 points there, you're skilled at cooking and gathering meal ingredients. That would also give me meal preparation. While at a campfire, you can cook from recipes. Choose up to 2 ingredients to cook with, and preserve fresh foods. Meals cooked from recipes bestow special status effects. Meals cooked with selected ingredients bestow dynamically generated status effects. Preserved foods are used as meal ingredients. This is a really important one. This didn't used to be in the game, and it's really cool that it's been added, because honestly, it makes me think of Breath of the Wild, the cooking in this game. It's actually, that's a compliment, in my opinion. Yes, we're going to be grabbing that. It's an important skill to have. I am sure I want to buy cooking. There we are. So now we have meal preparation and harvestry in that tree, which is pretty cool, but I'm back down to having like 6 remaining skill points. And that fire has wiped out everything over there. Alright, let me take care of these. Ooh! Auto got the dead root tuber. There we are. Let's have a quick look at you. The starchy tuber of a dreadroot. Now, we could cook that. We could turn it into something delicious. I could eat it straight up. I'm not going to do that, though. Alright, let's go and have a look. Did this corpse have anything? It did. I'm glad I didn't set it on fire. There we are. Alright, we've got a box down here. I'd like to see what's in it. Quilted shawl. Okay, vine waver. A hand axe. Nothing too amazing. Let's have a look at you. This is a scrap-clad hermit. A gnarled, hunched form, shrouded in layers of twisted sheet metal, bound by leather thongs. Equipped, shotgun shell, steel arrow. I would like to imagine that you are equipped with a shotgun shell and not the shotgun. However, I can't be sure of that. Also, I don't like just attacking completely neutral creatures. I mean, I know that dragonflies. I was showing things. Also, anything that I can eat is basically fair game. You could eat the hermit, I guess. You can pretty much eat any corpse, whether you like it or not. That's a different matter entirely. But no, we're not going to be going for the hermit. Now, these things over here, they're neutral. They're an average fight. He chews cud without a care for the mess in his tangled beard. I kind of want you to die. Because if I kill you, then I get EXP. So first, clairvoyance, whomp, and then secondly, roasty toasty over there. I can't quite get it out that far. Bit of a shame, that one. Alright, let's get down. They've scarpered. They're onto me. Damn it. Oh no, they're in a better place now. Actually, I don't mind that one at all. Fire! Now, they're going to move through this, but it is going to hurt them. And they are going to catch on fire. Both of them are on fire. I actually only need to wait until they die. One has gone down and got 25 EXP. There we go. Now, the unfortunate thing here, I don't have butchery yet, but if I did, walking over it would probably butcher the goat. I'm actually going to eat this because, yeah, the goat corpse was just killed by fire. I assume that it is cooked. Let's go ahead and eat it. I could look at it, actually. A bloated corpse of a goat. It shouldn't be that bloated. Eat. You're not hungry enough to bring yourself to eat that. Oh, okay. If I was carnivorous, I probably could eat just regular corpses without too much of a care. Okay, well, what we're going to do, we're going to make a camp. And, sure. I'm going to make a camp right there. Then I'm going to look to the camp. Can I interact with it? Yes, I can. I can whip up a meal, I can choose ingredients to cook with, and I can preserve my fresh foods. You preserved 3 vine wafers into 9 servings of vine wafer sheaf. Quite nice. So there we go, 9 servings. That's actually pretty wonderful, and they take up like no room now. We can have a look at that. Bunched wafers reaped from the moisture-sucking water vine plants and bound by twine. Adds water and thirst-based effects to cooked meals. And goat jerky, which I wish I had more of. A strip of smoked goat flesh. Adds HP-based effects to cooked meals. And dreadroot tuber. No particular information there. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and whip up a meal. You gather some fixings. A nip of curious congealed blaze injector. A foretold quillipede quill. And a bolt from the rifle turret. You toss them in the pot and stir. You can just make a meal to stop being hungry. You eat the meal. I'm now satiated. But I get no effect from that. If I use my ingredients, I can get an effect, but I don't necessarily want to right now. I believe I've still got an effect. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, I should have then. Sure, okay, we could do that, but I'll make another area, another fire down in the caves. But that's going to be it for this episode. Wow, it's gone on a long time, but there's so much to cover in this game. It is so cool, and it's packed to the brim with content. I really do hope you've enjoyed this episode and will be joining me for the next. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone, and do let me know what you're thinking about the game in the comments below.